Hello, hello, hello. Can you all hear me? Let me know if you all can hear me. Let me know. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Put a one in the chat if you all can hear me. Just throw a one in there. Let's see. Okay, it says I'm live. Think I'm getting all my levels and everything. Let's see. Can you all hear me? Let me see. Somebody throw a one in the chat if they are there for me. Just giving me some feedback so we can keep it pushing. Wire Dog is here. Yeah, man. Listen, life has been lifing. life has been lifing. Welcome, Esther. Welcome, Wire Dog. Esther was first. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for having me. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here for sure. Life is crazy. Life been happening. There's been changes at work, into some of my responsibilities. There have been changes at home. My wife is progressively becoming more and more pregnant. We are due in March. So we're at what, almost 8 months pregnant now. 1-year-old is progressing. 1-year-old is getting older. Let's see what else is going on. Just life, man. Work is becoming more, I wouldn't say it's more demanding. It's different. And I think it kind of, not that I'm planning on job hopping or anything, but it has kind of begged the question of why do people job hop? I'm like, a lot of people stick in there. No, a lot of times I would stick in there. I'm not changing jobs or anything, but a lot of times I do stick in there even when conditions aren't the most optimal. But I do think it's important for those, right, who come into my channel to recognize, hey, why do people job hop? What are some of the reasons? And I got a cool little, it's like a little, I guess, a comic that I saw on LinkedIn. It was pretty cool. It's a little comic that goes through someone's perspective about job hopping. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Gonna talk about it. Also have the link pinned in the chat in the event that someone wants to join, talk about their own experience. That's another thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk about some of my own experience with job hopping and how taboo that is, or how in this, like, the millennial generation Z thing to do, to hop from job to job. But we're gonna get into it. But let's go ahead and start it up with the intro. Hey, what's good, Untitled? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the chat. I just saw you. Welcome, man. Yeah, we're gonna get it started in a couple of.
I'm good with.
Welcome, Esther is here. She said, "Congratulations, the family's getting big and responsibility. Yeah, time is getting shorter as the division gives it. Yeah. Time is Internship hopping. Internships are listen. I did so many. Let me see how many internships I did. 1, 2, 3. I did 4 internships during undergrad. And I think internship hopping is exactly what is important. A lot of times they'll ask you to come back too. They'll ask you to come back after some time. But yeah, internships are extremely important for sure. That's what's up. Yeah. So let's go ahead and hit the intro, and then I'll be right back and we'll get into it. Welcome back to Struggle Security, where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. And thank you all for being here. I'm seeing folk starting to trickle in here and there. Lou, LS3, he has his own tech channel. Welcome to the chat. We got Blockavelli here, one of the day ones of the channel. Day ones has always been here. Akiyemi, always been here too. Salute to the chat. And Gabe, thank you all for being here. I was just telling people before you all got here is that life has been happening. My wife is becoming more and more progressively pregnant. Baby number 1 is growing and growing and growing. Work responsibilities have changed. They have They're different now. And it's just like a lot of that has taken a lot of the priority in comparison to the channel, but definitely do intend to get back to it, get back into the full swing of things. Something that's really interesting is that when you have a child, even with paternity leave. So I have paternity leave as a father. I get paternity leave, and I get 2 months 100% paid. 2 months 100% paid off. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, definitely gonna spend time with my family and everything, but also want to delve more into developing more and more content for this channel. And really, as I was saying late last year, or maybe it was early this year, that I want to start to have a membership section where I'm engaging even further with you all as the audience, where I'm answering specific questions for those who sign up for the membership in video form, and we can have a back and forth and chat about it. For those who join the membership, you'll be able to have access to those in-depth conversations that people have about their cybersecurity careers, getting into the field, or just any of your burning questions from somebody who's been in the field for 10, 11 plus years now. So, that's crazy to say. I used to think somebody that was in a field for 10, 11, 12 plus years would be, I don't know. I just always had a different perspective. Like like the OG or something is how we used to think of it. But I still feel it's so interesting because even though I have a decade plus in the field, I still feel fresh. I still feel like a lot of these concepts, a lot of these things in cybersecurity are new to me, because I think that this is a field that's ever evolving, ever changing. And even though, like I mentioned, I have more than a decade in this field, I feel like I'm brand new at times, because things are always different. There's always somebody getting hacked. There are always some new technologies to implement. There always are new methodologies in order to implement, in order to help organizations be more and more secure. And like I was mentioning before, even there's different job roles that I've been here. So yeah, it's something else. Other folk are jumping in. Hey, how's it going? Game over. Thank you for being here. Before the Billions B2B, he also has a YouTube channel. He covers tech content and also just overall social concepts and things that have been happening, kind of tech and tech adjacent, kind of a combination of it all. So, check out his channel. And Wired Dog, of course, has a channel here. He said, saying there's always something new to learn. So yeah, 100%. But we want to get into it, though. We want to get into the subject. And again, like I mentioned, I got the link pinned down there in the chat. So if you all desire to come up, the StreamYards link is there if you want to share your own experience about job hopping. And that's what we're talking about right now. We are talking about job hopping. Let me kill that banner. Job hopping in cybersecurity, or tech as a whole, right? I got to make it cybersecurity because that's what my channel is primarily based off of. But job hopping in tech, job hopping in cybersecurity. I first got introduced to that term with I think it was my family. So my family has a background primarily in either the skills trades, where most of my uncles are in, or medical, where my mom and my sister, a lot of my family members are in the medical or the skills trades fields. Nobody really is in tech. I don't think anybody is in tech. Back then, it was more engineering is what I was doing, but nobody's in engineering really. Nobody's in tech or anything like that. So I'm kind of like, I don't know, first of the kind in my family to jump into kind of like a tech type of role, and that comes with challenges, right? I'm seeing other people jump in here. Portfolio.o, welcome to the chat. Let's troll. Welcome, Gabe Jackson's. That is her name for me, but welcome. Thank you all for being here. So I come from a family that doesn't really have a big experience within tech, or kind of the changes that have been happening within tech. So as a result, I've had some growing pains and kind of explaining to my family members about what some of my moves has been. So early in my career, again, like I was mentioning, engineering focus, primarily engineering focus. And it started off when I was working at I was working for Ford, pretty much. It was a tier 1 supplier of Ford before. And I had been working there for a little over a year and a half or a year and 3 months, somewhere around there. And welcome, Def Racer. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for coming through. Salute to all. Excellent. Be sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button as well. So probably a year and a half, I was at my first role, and I was just seeing, and I probably had mentioned this before to you all, that the same thing I was doing was the same thing people 10 to 15, 20 years my senior were doing. The only other path forward was either being doing the same thing I was doing, or going to more of a senior role, or maybe even becoming a supervisor or a manager, where the supervisors and the managers had been there 20, 25 years. My direct manager had already been there 20 years, I think, by the time I got there. And I was just like, yo, this is just not something I'm looking at going into. So I chose to job hop. And my family told me that. Like, I wasn't the first person, like, I didn't know anything about what job hopping meant, because coming up in Detroit, many of my family members worked. Like, so my grandmother and grandfather, they literally came. Look who's here. Welcome, baby. Yeah, thank you for being here and supporting the channel. I hear you in the background. I hear you moving around upstairs. I was ready to hit that kill camera in the event that you were about to pop in here. So thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. I definitely appreciate that. Let's see. So yeah, field, like automotive field. So my grandmother and grandfather, they came from the South. The grandmother and grandfather on my mom's side, they originated from the South in Nashville, Tennessee. And what had happened is that they started off in the plants, the automotive plants. And they stayed there in the same type of plant environment where the GM, I forget, one of them, GM, Chrysler, or Ford. They stayed in those plant environments until they retired. They stayed there the whole time. I mean, because they got the pension, they got the retirement. My grandfather passed, and that pension that job pension was transferred directly over to my grandmother, right? So there were a lot of benefits that were associated there with that long-term stay. But I was just seeing that what I was doing there when I was working as an engineer, though. So I was working in an engineering capacity for Ford, and I'm like, this isn't it. This ain't it. This ain't it for me. Nah. I was in that. Listen, I was in that job role. Listen, it was hard for me. This
kind of struggling a little bit.
I was struggling because I wasn't seeing where my future was going. I didn't see myself progressing here. I didn't want to work with these same people. They were great. But I didn't want to work with the same people. And I'm like, I gotta go. So I started applying to roles locally around the area, and I was able to jump into a nuclear plant. So I used to work for a utility organization that owned a nuclear plant. So I started working at a nuclear plant as a nuclear instrumentation and control engineer, a nuclear INC engineer. My man's portfolio says I was just talking to folks about this topic in perfect timing. Awesome. I'm happy it aligns here with the subject matter. So then the thing that happened is that, again, like I mentioned, my family, skilled tradesmen, automotive, plant environments, medical, they didn't understand about hopping, right? They were saying, you job hopping, Gabe, you're going to miss out on some opportunities. If other hiring managers or other companies see you going from job to job to job to job, they're not going to want you because they're not going to see that you are there for the long haul. They felt like, hey, what's good, B2B? They felt like me going from one job to another job meant that I was not committed. It's so interesting because they had this whole idea that it's some type of relationship. We were married. I think that my family members were married to their jobs and occupations. And I was more of like, I need to get what I'm going to get from my job and occupation. So, that was the first time that I heard about job hopping, was from my family members who had long-term stays at wherever they were working. But yeah. So that's where I heard about job hopping. It was good, B2B. Welcome, man. Say who you are and tell me what you know about this job hopping stuff.
What's up, Gabe? As you guys may know, I go by William, and YouTube name is Before the Billions. Talk about tech, and I'm a data engineer. Been in the industry for 6 years now. So, Gabe, but as far as job hopping, I always hear that is the best way of being able to grow within your career. I mean, right now, this is my third job I've been in since I started getting into the industry, and then I'm looking for another position right now. And what you have to look at is finding the best opportunity for yourself.
Now, when was the first time that you heard about job hopping? Was it from family members like me, or did you hear about it from, I don't know, from like the LinkedIn streets, or where's the first time that you heard about job hopping?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Follow a lot of tech YouTube channels,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I first heard of it. Right before like the Great Resignation and all that,
Okay.
it was job hopping.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that was
That's
back
interesting.
was that 20? It's like 2019,
Okay.
2019. That's when I first heard about job
2019.
hopping.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I got it from my family. It was like 20, when did I move? 2013, 2014. Because they thought I was making a worse decision in my life. They thought that I was missing out on opportunities. They thought I was getting divorced from my job. And I'm like, yeah, that's not it. This is the new wave. This is the new wave. So Blockavelli says, our generation job hopping seems to be the only way to get promoted. That's something. Wire Dog said he had a similar experience, and he said he go where the best opportunity is. Now these companies won't hesitate to. That's something. They won't hesitate to fire you. They definitely won't hesitate to fire you. And Blockavelli said, shout out. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time that you went from your first job to your second job, what were the motivators there? Like, why did you go from your first job to your second job? Mine was because I didn't see any progression. I was like, I'm not about to be my manager. I'm not about to be here for 20 years to become a manager. So what was yours?
My contract ended. So
okay.
I had to leave. So it was one of those things where I noticed when you stay at a position for too long, you overstay your welcome, and then it actually is a good thing if your contract ends, or maybe if you get fired or something like that, or laid off, because it pushes you towards growth.
Okay. Growth. Tell me about that. Tell me. So that was one thing that I noticed too. That's a good term, because I felt like if I stayed in the same place I was in, I would not be growing professionally. I would literally be doing the same thing over and over and over. Because at that time I was what you call a wire harness design engineer. So we were responsible for, quote unquote, designing the electrical distribution of vehicles, pretty much like a wire harness. So I might have a body harness. I might have the infotainment body wire harness. So I would take that, design it, then go down to Mexico to make sure that they were manufacturing it correctly. Then that same harness will go to the plants in Michigan, and then I'll follow it from at the beginning of the assembly line all the way to the end until the car goes out to the road. Literally rinse and repeat over and over and over again. The process is the same. So, I didn't feel like I would be growing professionally if I would just be doing that over and over and over again. What type of growth do you think that you experienced by job hopping?
Well, yeah, I actually got better at what I do as a data engineer, because when I noticed my first job, I was brand new to the industry. And then I realized some things, like looking back on it, that it was really playtime back then. I used to work at Home Depot, and they have like a game, like a gaming center and stuff like that. You go in there, you play games, and then you also have it to where it's like people would help you too much and kind of coddle you. And then that's what I realized. I was like, okay, I'm getting my stuff done, but I really don't know how to do everything. It's like if nobody helped me. So then I got pushed into an environment where people did not help me, and I had to do it on my own. But it made me a better engineer.
Okay. So you went from one position where you didn't think that you were really developing those skills as much to the next position where you saw that, hey, I have to not to get out the mud here. I got to get out the mud and really learning these concepts and implementing the data engineer concepts in the work environment. Okay.
And even then the environment was completely different. Like when I say that they had like ping pong and they had video games and groups and stuff like that at Home Depot. And then when I moved to my current job now, they didn't have any of those things. So you kind of, it's more serious. So I feel like I was more, an adult. So when you see like these companies like Google, for an example, and they have it where they want you to stay in the company, in the building for so long, all day.
Campus. They call it campuses.
The campus.
Yep.
I've been to the Google campuses in Atlanta. It's very nice.
Okay.
And they have games on every floor. They have treasure hunts and stuff like that you can do, and have a bar downstairs that you can play, that you can work on. And
they're trying to keep you there.
They serve food at like 6 p.m. or something like that. So people can work. They get in at 8 a.m. They could work all the way to like 8 p.m.
Listen, they want to get as much out of you as possible. Okay. Understood. Okay. So you were going to different environments, and yeah, that was very very similar. But I think I had another experience when I job hopped. It was because I wasn't getting promoted, and I think that was the one of the ones that Blockavelli had mentioned. Our generation senior job hopping seems to be the only way to get promoted. Because I was noticing, so a lot of times all of the stars have to align for a promotion to happen within your company. They have to have a need for it. They got to have budget. You have to pretty much outperform everybody at your current level, or you have to compete with people who might also desire to be promoted into that same type of role. So, almost all stars need to align in order for you to get promoted. It had to be the right time of year where the organization does promotions. But I just wasn't seeing that aligning at one of my roles. It was always one thing that was missing. Somebody had been there longer. It wasn't that time of the year. Sometimes I don't think that my work was that appreciated in comparison to others. So, it was easier to go to a company that already had that opening for the next level I wanted to be at. Do you think that that's a good reason to be? Hey, listen, push back if you want, but do you think that's a good reason to job hop or go to a different place, or what do you think?
I do agree that that is a good reason to job hop. Now, another reason as well is because your salary is going to get lapsed by the market as time progresses. If you stay at a company for 10 years making in the same position, then a new grad could be making more than you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Starting first day they're making more than you.
That's a good point, because on average, annual, I guess, base salary increases typically is somewhere around, I think, 2 to 4 to 5% on the high end. So you're getting a 2% to 3% increase every single year on your base salary, where, like you mentioned, when the market change, because that 2 to 3% isn't a market change. It doesn't change based upon where inflation is, based upon how the cost of living is in the place where you live. It's just a small incremental change every year. So if you are staying there, you are missing out on money. You're missing out on money if you don't go somewhere that already has the market correction implemented within the new job. So you're right. So when those people are graduating, coming straight into a role, they are right there where the market correction is. But you have just been inching up little by little every single year. So that's a good point. And then Portfolio says, how does job hopping early in one's career affect long-term career progression in cybersecurity? Hey, it depends. I say it depends on the organization. And you can answer for data science, but I'll start it here. It depends on the leadership of the organization and what they value. So there are some very, I guess, antiquated leadership within certain organizations who don't appreciate somebody who might have been there a year and a half or 2 years and then went to another role. So it really depends on the hiring manager's standard for how they're evaluating somebody. But now I feel like in cybersecurity, there's so many different roles out here that organizations are just looking for the right skill sets over. I think they prioritize the skill sets over the time that they've been in certain roles. I would say that. But in leadership, I would say they want you there for longer. I think a lot of leadership roles, they want you there for like 2 to 5 years, at least within a role before you move on. If they see in like 1.5, 2 years max, then they're like, I don't know, this person might not be here for the long haul. Or at least that's what I've been seeing in cybersecurity. What do you think, man?
Yeah, so I think in general, right, there's a few pros and cons that you have to weigh. I think overall it's a good thing to be able to get a better opportunity for somebody else. Also, there's no reason to have to put every single job that you worked on your resume. If you worked, let's say you job hopped and you moved companies within less than a year, right? I've actually met some people who worked at a company for like 3 months and then they ended up going to another company.
Oh, wow.
What's the point in putting that on your resume? You only stayed there for 3 months.
Well, you know what it's for? So that they don't have that gap. So then do they fill in the gap with something else? Or like, what do? They do like they took a sabbatical for 2 or 3 months? Or how do they fill that gap?
I mean, there's a plethora of reasons. I mean, I've seen some people even say that they signed an NDA. So they can't say. That was one
Okay.
reason. But then also you could just say you took a sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
You could also say, hey, well, what does it even really matter if I have a job right now?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that too. It's like if I'm working right now, what does it matter? I took off for 2 or 3 months. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. So
Sometimes it's interesting too, because that 2 to 3 months, say for instance you went there somewhere, stayed for 2 to 3 months.
mm-hmm.
I think you could come up with a lot of reasons, like you mentioned, but I think that it's very important that you have a reason, right? Because a lot of organizations are going to ask. They are definitely going to ask, "Hey, I saw you were only there for 2 to 3 months," and it's okay to leave, especially if it's not aligning. Like, say for instance, I don't know. A lot of things can happen. You can see that it's not a fit for you,
Yeah, you can be
and I think
honest and
that's
say it's
yeah,
a toxic work environment or something, and then I
that
find a better
that too.
opportunity.
Yeah, that could be something too. So, it just depends on the type of organization you go into, how open you are to sharing all of those particular reasons. Because, organizations, people will silently judge you based upon how long you've been somewhere. They will silently judge you, which is an interesting thing. But, there's so many roles out there. You got to go whatever best fits you. And I think that that's another thing that I think is that you need to prioritize your situation, prioritize where you're currently at, over what somebody might think.
Gabe, let me
You know
ask
what I
you
mean?
this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the interview,
Yep.
and you get a question like that, let's say you had a gap of 2 or 3 months in
Okay.
your resume, and then they ask about it, what would you say in that situation?
I
And,
might
and it's
say,
not like it's
yeah,
not like it was a toxic work environment. You simply like had to take care of something else, or you just left the
yeah.
company for some other opportunities.
Knowing myself, I probably have a couple of reasons why. One, I might have been prioritizing my family. Right? There might have been something that my family members are going through, taking care of my mom or taking care of my wife or somebody, kids or something. I might have took that time off in order to take care of home before I re-engage work. Another reason would be if I went to an organization and what was expected or what was communicated to me about the role was very different when I got into the role. So, the bait and switch. We're gonna bait you in, say you're gonna be doing this and that and this and that. You're gonna be involved in this project, and I come in and I'm doing help desk work. Nothing wrong with help desk work, but if that was not the expectation for me going into the role, hey, I leave. I leave. So, those are probably the most probable things for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, and
How about you? What would be
I mean,
yours?
I'll probably just be honest. I was looking for better opportunities, or
Yeah.
it didn't align with what I was, with my expectations, But then I have a question that comes from what you just said when you talk about
And
your
I got one after
family.
yours.
Oh
Yours
yeah,
too. But yeah, go ahead. Yep.
right. So and when people bring up family during interviews, I
Yep.
remember I did an interview one time, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, I don't do anything but hang out with my kids and my wife and stuff like that."
Mm-hmm.
And then the other guy said the same thing, and then they asked me
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, well, what about you? Do you have like a family and stuff like that?" I was
Uh-oh.
sitting here like, I don't know if I should answer that kind of question in the
Yeah.
interview. What do you think about that?
Listen, let me tell you, and I'm not just saying this because it's like as a flex or anything, but like talking about family to hiring managers and people, I guess, who are in leadership, that is almost like um they relate to it more than anything else. So if you say that, hey, I gotta go pick up my kids or something, or I gotta do this and that, a lot of people are more, I guess it melts or it crushes down some of those walls that might have been there previously. Because I think a lot of times a lot of these people got families, a lot of people got kids, a lot of these people got all types of things. So family a lot of times does, even though it's not necessary. Like if you don't feel comfortable talking about family, that's definitely your prerogative. But I know that when I've talked about family, they very much so started to relate and talk about their own kids or talk about their own things. So yeah, at least that's been my experience. And welcome, Lou. And welcome to the panel. We talk about job hopping, man.
Yeah, and Gabe, so
yep.
So when you talk about family and everything, so and then let's say this, right? as a hiring manager,
I said it.
if you relate to people who have families
Salute.
as well, do you
Mm-hmm.
be like, okay, well, hey, they're a single guy. They, I don't have any relation to. Do you feel that way, like the opposite way?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I think that everybody is at different stages of their lives. I had somebody who's on my team who he didn't have any family at all. He was just very into tech. He was just very into tech. He was very into cybersecurity. He wanted to hack everything and do what he got to do. I think we related on a different level. We related on different things. But nah, I don't look like, hey, this person is not good or anything because they don't have a family. So at least from my perspective, others might think differently because I think that sometimes people might think like, hey, they don't have a family. They're not committed to anything beyond this work. So, I know sometimes people, let me tell you, sometimes people without families get the short end of the stick because I know that there's been situations where people without families have been required to travel places very, very, very far in comparison to me, who who had a family, had to take care of things at home. So they might work you a little bit harder. I don't know for some organizations, but that's something that I've seen. Oh, what you think about that? I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think that I think that it's true because I remember Black Heights, and
Yep.
he said that working in tech sales, he would have to go to like other countries and stuff like that. I think it was like China or something for long periods of time. And then he said, "Hey, look, I'm going to take some time off from doing all this traveling because I want to be a present father."
And what they say?
And he got the time with his family.
Yep. Hey, what's good, Lou?
What's going on? What's up,
Lou?
man? What's up, B2B?
Hey, what's up?
I never gotten that in the interview.
No, talking about families or anything.
Yeah, about family. No, I never really got that yet.
No. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come up. I didn't got other questions though, but
it hasn't primarily been about people ask about my family, but I would bring it up to like as like a filler to see if I could relate to them in a way. I'd be like, I'm going through some changes, just had the first kid and everything and all this type of stuff. They'd be like, yeah, man, I have a kid too, about 4 or 5 years old. And it'd be a thing. Like we start to chop it up on some things outside of just the job role. So, I think it has been able to melt the hearts of people. So
with us, I mean, we got people with kids, some that be on Zoom call, be on a call, Teams call. They had their kids in the back sometimes. I mean,
I feel you. So what's your idea about job hopping, or like what was the first time that you heard about it, Lou?
Oh, about a couple right at the time I got in. Really, people saying best way to get more money is to job hop instead of just like what you said. They got more money in new hire budgets than like raise budgets, so it's almost like. I mean, you kind of, you kind of stuck. You know what I mean? You stuck. You got to leave in a lot of ways. Like, unless I guess you, show an offer sheet from another establishment, right?
Now, this is a question for both of y'all. What do you think? And this might be something that people don't like, but do you think that job hopping strictly for more money is okay?
Yeah.
What y'all think?
Yes,
100%.
I think.
Wait, y'all answer that quick. Wait. I need some. Give me some context around that. Like, what do you think?
If I'm just saying, if somebody says like, I left because of more money, I mean, that's that's how they feel. You know what I mean? But I guess I see what you're saying because it's like, maybe if your current job is cool, you got remote work all the time. It's like if you get an extra 20,000, but you got to go into the all. You know what I'm saying? Like it's. Sometimes the money's not always the best, but I was saying if somebody does it, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If somebody want to leave, get more money, because like you said, you got to negotiate, right? And it's
right.
It's that economics is important.
That's true. How about you, B2B? Is that the same type of reasoning? You like, hey, it's better, more money. Like, what's up?
I think that's a good reason. But it's also other things you have to take into account as well, such as benefits outside of just the base pay. And then as I have a quick example about this, but there's benefits, but then it's also the work-life balance and the things that you're actually working on. Do you feel like it's benefiting and providing value for the company as well? But the story is that I remember I had an interview, and I was like, okay, this is going to be for a large name company. It was going to be, I'm assuming it's going to make pretty good money. I get all the way down to the offer, and then they tell me all the benefits that they have. They say, oh, we have unlimited PTO and everything. Every other benefit was like the same, health care and all this other kind of stuff. The only thing that was different was the unlimited PTO, but the salary was the exact same salary that I made at the same time. So I was like, okay. Well, there's no benefit for me to switch jobs because I have. It actually would be a detriment to me because it's not only a lateral change between companies for the same salary, same position, but then the unlimited PTO is like a trap because you don't get paid out the PTO. So I was like, okay, well, I'll actually be making a worse decision going here for this.
So you think that not going somewhere for the money, okay, the money is a fact. I would say this. I would say going somewhere for the money is cool, but you also got to, or strictly for the money is cool, but I think you also got to consider the perspective of the hiring managers. Because think about it, if they bringing you in and they like, okay, he's here for more money and he's getting that, right? But what if somebody else offers him more money in 2 to 3 months from now? Then he's out of there, right? Like, and one of the metrics for successful managers or managers that hire is retention. So if they're not able to retain you, right? If they know what your only motivation is buddy, they're not able to retain you for a long period of time, then that can make them look bad. So a lot of times they are looking for people who have some little bit of staying power where the only factor isn't money. I would say if it is money only, have another reason with it. I say that just so that you can play it. It's a game. It's a game.
I
so
agree. You're right. Money. Yeah, you're right. Because I do that with a lot of things. Like sometimes, like if I'm going somewhere, it's like I want to have 2 reasons why I'm going.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I might go get a haircut, and I'm go to the, go to the gym. So just money. Yeah, you're right. Because you want to have like work-life balance, like B2B was saying, better, team and whatever you're doing on the job. So yeah, I see what you're saying.
Or like even just like make it easy. Like just I'm looking for more of a challenge, and I'm seeing this opportunity as something that's more challenging. Boom. Right. That's so right. Everybody wants something like everybody wants somebody who is able to look at a challenge and want to tackle it.
So go ahead. From the perspective of a hiring manager, it's actually going to be I think that's a bad thing when you say, oh, I want a challenge, because then they were looking like, well, why didn't you just create more work for yourself?
They could. Well, listen, it depends. Because if they're going from like a analyst role to like a senior analyst role, then I think that can show more of a challenge. They have more responsibility. They have more tasks that they're responsible for, more advanced roles. So I guess it just all depends on the type of work that you're doing. But yeah, no, I do agree with you. I don't think that people should just be sitting there twiddling their thumbs when they're like, this is just easy. So, I do think that people need to be able to create some level of productivity, even when they're working in a less challenging environment. So yeah. Free Zone Lou coming through with the comment. He says, of course, you can get the people interviewing you to talk about things outside of work. It raises your chances of being likable and being hired. Yeah, that likability is big. Family is a good topic. Good topics to use, but it's mainly about small talk. Yeah, that's true. He also followed up and said, if you have a pattern of leaving jobs, it could be problematic because it could show that someone, y'all might hear the baby in the background. My bad. Y'all go ahead for a second.
You want to run it right quick? Yeah. So I think that overall, then Lou, hopefully you're still here too.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, but when it comes to like job hopping, and I think that it's important that we do it, and we aren't scared to be able to job hop and are too wrapped up in thinking about other people's feelings. I know that when Gabe was saying, hey, look at the perspective of the hiring manager, But I more so care about my career.
Right. Hey, she wanted to get involved in the stream. She wanted to get active, so she just running around here, messing around with stuff.
Hey, how many months is she now?
She is a year and 15 months. She's. I'm sorry. She is 15 months. She's 15 months. Yeah, she's looking around like, what's going on? Yeah, that's you. That's you. You know, talk about family and everything. She trying to mess with the keyboard, but yeah, y'all go ahead. I gotta turn it off.
Yeah, I was saying that, and then that was something that I realized after speaking with you, Gabe, and Professor Black Ops, is people are always going to try you, right? You have to be able to, stand up for yourself. So I want to get the best benefits for my own career. The company, they making all these millions and billions of dollars and stuff like that a year. I need to be able to make some money too, and I want to be able to get up in my career as far as my title needs to be able to change when I'm making this move. I don't want to make a lateral raise, and I definitely don't want to go down.
Right.
I want to be able to progress within life, especially when, and they say the biggest reasons as to why people leave companies is because of where they are in life. I thought that I was going to be ahead of where I am now at the age of, when I get to 30, I'm expecting to be at a certain level as far as my career.
How old are you now, B2B?
I'm 28 right now.
28? Okay, that's cool.
Oh, you early in the game, man. You got it, man.
Yeah, so but that's one of the biggest reasons that they say is it's not because of money, it's not because of benefits or anything. It's simply because I want to be further ahead along at the age that I'm at. And, or other benefits or other things like a family, right? Because you starting a family, you want to be able to, be able to provide more. You get married, you have kids, those it costs money.
That's true. It's very true. It's very true. And I want to thank you for Lowcast with the $5 donation. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Appreciate you. You're the best. You're the best. Let's see what else. I know we had a couple other questions. It says, are there any red flags or factors that employers consider when hiring someone with a history of job hopping? I think we kind of mentioned several of them, right? When they're just moving around for money, when they don't have a lot of long-term staying power, right? Organizations kind of want you to stay there for a little time before you leave. It could show a lack of quote unquote commitment, where I don't see it that way, because I think that if people have better opportunities, they're looking to go somewhere different, then I think that they should go. But I do think that people should stick it out a little bit to try to see what they can do, because how much can you really learn if you're somewhere just for a couple of months? How much can you really contribute to the organization if you're there for just a couple of months? So
you can learn. You can learn if it's a toxic work environment.
That's true.
but as far as like skills, you aren't going to get much better.
Yeah. And Freeze on Lewin's in here. He says, if you have a pattern of leaving jobs, it could be problematic because it could show that someone may not be reliable for a long term. Yeah, absolutely. It all depends on what kind of person the company is looking for. True.
All right. And one thing I would suggest is before people start job hopping and stuff, try and see if you can, in order to get to the higher level, as far as your title, try and see if you can go and get some new skills and or responsibilities in your current role before you move on to your next role. And it'll make yourself look better.
Yeah. I think overall, casual economist, it says, what's the definition of job hop? It's literally going from one job to another job to another job in a certain time frame or a certain period of time. What that period of time is, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, that can vary. That can vary based upon the organization that you're going into. And John jumping here says, well, really, there's more job hopping happening now more than ever before. I would think HR would be used to seeing that, right? Especially with the layoffs that are happening over the years. That's another one. And he said, facts, B2B. Anything before I got something that we want to jump into, a little comic I had saw on LinkedIn. So what do you all think? Getting some other folk in here. Oh, here's John. You're welcome, John. John Good. He also has a cybersecurity channel. I've been on his channel. He's interviewed me before. Thank you for coming through, man. It's been a while. John said, you should have a reasonable explanation for every job move you make, and those choices should align with each other. not look random. True. If you were a hiring manager, how would you view your history? That's true, right? Would you want to hire yourself? Would you want to hire you based upon what you have seen in your job history? So that's a big one. And then Free Zone Lou comes through again. He says, I agree, John. Those days of staying at a job for 20 years are over. People want to move up within a company, or they will move to another company as long as they are moving up. And then Def Racer jumping here, he says, I think a year or two before leaving will be pretty safe. A few months, I have seen that being a problem. Oh, okay, a few months, I can see that being a problem. So
I was gonna say, like at a certain point, if it's that short, you shouldn't even put it on the resume.
Exactly.
That's what B2B was saying. Yeah,
Exactly.
If you're under there like 2 months, if you make what's that, the probationary period, you might want to put it on there.
Yeah,
because all the benefits don't even kick in yet. So.
That's true. I don't even think you get unemployment if you leave somewhere, or well, maybe if you fire, right? But yeah, you don't get the benefits.
Only if you get fired. You don't.
Right.
As long as it's something outside of your own
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of your own decision. Mm-hmm.
Anything else before we start stepping through this?
What are they saying? Notes? Yeah. Go ahead and talk. Yeah. What's notes about? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So this one is notes about job hopping from job hopper. She done found the phone. Dang. Okay. Anyway, let me go. Ooh. How do you go? Let's see. Zoom out a little bit. Okay. We're just going to progress through it. Shoot. I got the, let me do this one. Okay. It says, hi, I'm RM. He's 35-year-old and he's a job hopper. Now, this is what his CV or his resume looks like. It looks like he started in 2014. He was some type of sales executive or marketing executive. He was there he was one place for 7 months. He was somewhere for 10 months. He was another place for 3 years and 5 months. I can zoom in a little bit on this one so we can take a look at this. 3 years. Then he says a year and 5 months, a year and 2 months. Then the last place, it looked like he was a co-founder somewhere for about 5 or a little over 4 years, or 4 years and 9 months. Okay. And feel free to comment on anything that you might see here. I want this to go away at the bottom. Let's see. Actually, let me put this into full size mode. Pardon me. Let me know if you all can see that in full screen mode.
Yeah, we can see it.
No, it's not full screen. Let me do this really quickly. She is surprisingly quiet. That is.
She want to know about job hopping too.
Apparently. Okay.
Yeah, she's listening.
Yeah, she's trying to get it. Yeah, she's trying to get this game. Okay. It says there's a lot of passionate discussion about job hopping on the internet today, and many people are against it, and many people say it's the only way to go. As someone who was a previous job hopper, whatever. Oh no, chill. And someone who also hires people, here's his perspective about job hopping. He's gonna put on his job hopper cap and talk about it. He said, it is okay to not want to endure a job to clock time. If a job doesn't work for you, it is completely fine to leave. I think we were saying that, right? This is regardless of how long you've been there. 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 1 year. You don't need anyone's permission to go. That's a fact. It says, by the way, there are many reasons why a job could not work for you. So these are some of the ones that we talked about, right? Pay is not satisfactory. No vibes with coworkers. That's a thing, isn't it? Because sometimes you don't want to work somewhere because of the people that work there. Like if it's somebody that's like difficult to work with continuously, and you know that you gotta work with them, I don't think that you really it can really mess up your job experience. What do y'all think about that one? When it says no vibes,
no vibes. I can kind of see what they're saying. Like, you know, it's kind of hostile, or you got, you know, a certain demographic of people that have a certain mindset, or, you know, like, I'll give an example. Like, I mean, you know, let's say there's an age. Not every organization, like, I'm just using an example. Like, let's say like an age not discrimination, but there's a difference of ideology amongst the group. It might be like, you know, older people versus younger people, and it might, you know, you might just be dreading certain things because of that situation, right?
That's true. That's true. How about you, B2B? What do you think about like having difficult or coworkers that you really don't want to work with?
Yeah, I think that It's more so. I would think my manager would make me want to move if it's anything. Because a coworker, I've had difficult coworkers before.
Yeah.
That I've had to work with, and I just went through it.
You know we heard the stories. Yeah. You're giving us the stories of people. Oh yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
And then now I'm cool, as far as like my coworkers and stuff, because I have a good manager.
Yeah.
And then that's where it really matters to me. But I can see why somebody would want to leave if it's like a toxic work environment with your coworkers, like they have like nepotism going on. And then some people get hired on and they may make your life worse.
Yeah. That's true, because they can start. Sometimes you might be in a work environment and they start clicking up. When they start clicking up to kind of shadow you away from the work that you might want to do or do all types of things, it can make it difficult. But I think the one that you mentioned, that's another reason here. Micromanaging boss. I know I can't accept that. I never have. I leave before I stay with a micromanaging boss.
Nah, yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I can't do it, especially for the type of work we do.
Right.
That's just counterproductive.
Yeah. And I think I saw like there was some type of survey or some type of paper that was talking about a lot of times with millennials, we're looking more and more for autonomy within a job role. We want to be able to be given something to do and do it within a certain time frame with little to no management, if that makes sense. Like that's something that's attractive to me, because I don't need to be having like daily, like all the time check-ins. Yeah, go ahead, Lou.
My bad. I was gonna say like deliverables and deadlines, just straight up.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be over my shoulder. Hey, you getting this done? You getting this done? What's going on?
Ooh, I hate that. That's not my thing. That's not my thing at all. Like I will buck back quickly on that. And this other one said, you don't see a future for the company. Oh yeah, go ahead.
You can add in on that too. Is that it also depends on where you are in your career too. So if you are somebody who's fresh into the industry, you may need more guidance. But then if you've already been in the industry for a long period of time, you don't really need all the one-on-ones and check-ins and stuff like that. But early on, there's a lot of people who say it's better for you to go into the office and have somebody to guide you on how to do things, as opposed to like working remote and you have laissez-faire way of managing.
That's true, because early in your career, you do want some level of guidance, right? You do want somebody to kind of, I wouldn't say hold your hand, but kind of like give you the game, like tell you what things to avoid and help you become a better, I guess, practitioner overall. So yeah, that makes sense. Game Over said they used to give me stomach burns every morning from micro. I'm telling you, that micromanager is like the worst manager possible. Like, why do you need to have such a tight grasp on every activity occurring within your team? Like, it's just like, something that I just don't rock with. Yeah.
Like this might not be quote unquote micromanaging per se, but man, like the last role I had at the other company, the last company I was at, I'm talking about meetings on top of meetings.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking, Gabe. I mean, it was just like, then it was a 9 a.m. stand up every day, and the meetings on top of it. So we'll have like a 9 a.m. stand up, then we'll have like a check in, like 11 or 12. And funny thing about it is, we on the West Coast, we had people on the team who was like in Boston, Florida. So I mean, they straight. You know what I mean? Like they cool. It's 1 o'clock for them. You know what I mean? So
on the West Coast is completely different. But it's like, what can you really accomplish between each one of these meetings? Right? How can you set like what are you reporting on? Like a couple of commits? I don't know.
And don't let it be, you waiting on access or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes you can't even, you know what I mean? You can't even do nothing.
Yeah. And then what can you do? Yeah. Another one that they say here is that you don't see a future in the company. And the one that we were talking about is that you found a better offer. She's trying to get down. Go ahead, run. So yeah, you might have found a better offer. So these are valid reasons to leave a job. You don't owe anyone, most certainly not your boss. Let's see what's next. I think she's trying to go out. Okay. Can you all run it for a second? I'll be right back. She's trying to escape.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Job hopping will often help you increase your salary. One of the reasons why people job hop so much is because of the way to increase their salaries. Employers, I know you're triggered. Hang in there. Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something there, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say is that, you know, when I think about it, I think that even when you are interviewing for a new position, they want you to at least go for what you're worth.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
want you to negotiate your salary. They're gonna give you the like when they offer you something, they're gonna give you the bare minimum. And then when you go in there and you're trying to get more for what you're trying to do, even the employer would know, like, oh, okay, well, at least he asked me something that was close to the market rate. He did his research.
Yeah.
But if you go too low, it means, okay, maybe he's not even confident about his own skills.
Yeah.
So we're not going to look too highly on them.
Let me tell you, many times that salary negotiation is typically a negotiation that happens between HR and the hiring and the candidate. A lot of times the hiring manager finds out what the salaries and everything are down the line or after you already get hired. So a lot of times people who are hiring, the hiring managers don't really know the salary that you're looking for. Typically it's HR. And it's HR trying to like talk you down, really. So
yeah. And
but it's yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
You, so since you were hiring manager, so have you ever like seen somebody's salary and you was like, wait a second, that's a little too high, or or too low?
I have people that I managed. Some of them were very high compared to. So I know I used to manage somebody whose pay or base salary was literally at the top of his band. I think he was probably the highest paid person in his particular band. But then somebody else was kind of more middle, but they were extremely skilled. And I'm like, dang, you ain't negotiated, did you? That's what I was thinking. Yep. But yeah, I have seen some people that kind of fluctuated there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the reason I asked is because I've had it to where, like, one of my managers told me, they were like, I don't like your salary. Let's try and fix that. Within like
because he probably saw how everybody else's salary was. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
So
it has to be requested. Yeah.
So he saw your salary and said, I don't like it, and he tried to knock it down?
Well, he said, I don't like your salary. He tried to give me a raise within
okay. Yeah, that's the only acceptable.
Right.
You thought it was the opposite, Lou?
Yeah, I thought you said opposite. Like he looked at it, I don't like this.
Like I don't like that.
I
got to humble you a little bit, buddy.
Yeah, he did the Graham Stephan where he tell you like, no, there's plenty of people who can do it for free.
Oh man,
right? Or that that belly scene when he's eating that banana. Like I don't like that. I don't like.
That's crazy.
Can't have that. Yeah, that's what I was about to say, boy. That's the only time. That's the
only time. So this one says not all companies will reward their employees with pay increases naturally. In some companies, there are also limited opportunity that we've talked about that limited opportunities for promotion. If we stay in these roles, our salaries will stagnate. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. We don't trust companies enough to look out for our own interests, so we job hop to protect ourselves. Typically, companies extend a percentage job to the job hopper to sweeten the deal. That's how many of us get our increments. Yeah, that's true. Especially if you're working for like a competitor. So if you work for a competing organization, like it happens a lot of time within fame too. People might jump from Google to Apple to Amazon, and they're getting these pay increases over time because literally there's like a talent shift. Like the talent is moving from one place to another place. So if they recognize you as a talented resource for their competitor, they will pay you more to jump over. I know I had that experience. So yeah. It's pretty dope. A lot of times that comes in sign-on bonuses. That will come in sign-on bonuses or just like equity or something. So anything on that one?
Yeah, I think that's the only way a lot of the time too. Because I remember I did get a promotion at one point. And then I looked at the salary. I was like, can we go up like not even much? It's a $5,000 or something like that.
Right.
And they was like, no, we can go a penny more. You can't go a penny more than that. And I was like, okay, well, I just got to take it. But then for somebody who's like job hopping, they just will say, okay, let's just move on somewhere else. And then, like they'll get their promotion. They'll get more than that 5,000. They'll get several, maybe tens of thousands.
That's why a lot of times it's good to have multiple job offers at once because you can kind of play them against each other. Or even, I remember one time this one company had got a little shook because they were asking me about salary and everything and about so I gave them what I was expecting and they said that was too high and they said that we'll have to negotiate and I'm like, okay, that works. I'll just put this one in the spreadsheet and compare it to the I was like, I don't know what I thought I was doing. I had a little spreadsheet of like interviews I was doing, but I was telling them like, hey, I add this one to the spreadsheet and I'll definitely keep you updated on progress with the other roles I'm interviewing for. They was like, spreadsheet? What do you mean you got a spreadsheet? I said, yeah, I got it. I'm interviewing for multiple roles and I got some offers coming in and I just want to add this to the list of offers that I already had. I already had one offer. I already had one offer additional with me. But you gotta play. You gotta play the game. You gotta play the game. So
you definitely gotta play.
Yeah. Lou, you kind of borging.
You borging a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my bad. Is this better?
Yeah, this is better. Yep, that's better.
Yeah, I was saying, I had did that. I had 2 offers. I had 3 offers actually, but one of them fell through.
Okay.
But so the 2 companies was competing. I sent them the offer and told them, they sent me a higher offer. I ended up going with the other company. Funny thing about it is the other company they still stalking me, Gabe.
Oh really?
They stalking my LinkedIn.
You see them on LinkedIn?
Yeah, they stalking me.
They trying to see what's going on with you. They trying to see if you a free agent anymore. They trying to get you. That's how you know you were like when you start seeing those recruiters hitting your LinkedIn. So and so viewed your LinkedIn. Person with this recruiter title from this company. Yeah, they thirsty. They thirsty out there. Casual Collins said that they do spreadsheets too. And American Negro, welcome to the chat, man. Yeah, welcome. For this next one, it says job hopping can give you network and experience. Done right, job hopping can expose you to many different companies and how they operate. That was kind of how you were speaking, B2B, is that when you went to a different place, you recognize there were growth opportunities there that weren't there in your previous role. It says here, as opposed to sticking it out in one place, you gain perspectives on how you might want your future career to pan out. You can learn new skills and meet many new people. It's going to be very, very valuable. Job hopping in 2010s gave me different perspective. They just saying what their perspective was. The person saw how different industries work, how companies can be run differently, how to treat fellow coworkers, and what challenges businesses face. I think another one is that I learned is that I saw the type of company I wanted to work in comparison to the type that I didn't. So working for very old companies, it wasn't bad, like old industrial or old manufacturing companies. They have a way to stay in their own, I guess, way of doing things. A lot of it is a lot of processes are buried in bureaucracy and internal politics. And I'm like, I just don't want to be in those type of places. I want to be a place where people are vibrant, people are more innovators, people are kind of on the edge of the newest technologies. So going from company to company, that allowed me to see that. Right, see where I wanted to be and where I didn't want to be. So, yeah. How about y'all? When y'all went to different places, did y'all get a better perspective of the type of company that you would work at, or what do you think about that one?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Lou.
I worked at a company. I think I told you about it, Gabe, the transportation company. Yeah, it was cool. What we did. It's called Cubic. Like when you I know they operate in Chicago and New York. It's like the little the how you scan like your bus pass or your subway metro pass. They're like the card reader, and that was really cool.
Okay, yeah.
They had a cafeteria, had a basketball court, stuff like that. But that was when I told you about all the meetings though. You know what I'm saying?
so you meeting about the meeting about the meeting coming up.
Yeah, this one I'm more of like a government contractor role. This one, the one I'm at now.
How is that one? I thought that was more of like, wouldn't that be more meetings too, or no?
You would think, right? I was thinking that at first, but it's night and day. Like
really?
We don't have no stand-ups really. We meet every Thursday for sure, and then Monday for like focus. But it's just one meeting. We don't do too much.
That's that autonomy I was talking about earlier. That's that. Listen, I could work, but I also could have a life. That work-life balance that B2B was saying too.
Yeah,
So,
they don't really be on our head, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a contractor, so they operating with other, companies. So I gotta,
primes and subprimes and
exactly. So sometimes you got to get access from this person. It's just pretty chill. I mean, I guess as of lately, it's been a little kind of what you were saying. Kind of a little responsibility starting to ramp up a little bit now.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just saying to answer the question about you're right, because that other job though, it was in excuse me, they were using AWS and like JFrog and like the
so technology was a little bit more advanced, but
they gave us MacBooks.
Okay. Now you in that government, I know you were using Windows. There's no question.
Oh,
no,
exactly.
you're using
We're using Windows
I know you're using the Windows machine right now.
Right now, exactly. And but the funny thing, every MacBook they gave me was a lemon. I had to go to IT like twice.
Oh man.
And then too, I don't know. Oh, we were using different IDEs.
Okay.
That was kind of cool. That was very new. That was something I was not experienced. I'm used to like Visual Studio Code. We was using you all ever heard of IDEA? It's a paid text editor. Like they have to pay, and it was because it was Java, right? We were using Java.
Okay.
And so it was a paid text editor. I think you had to pay like $10 a month, $15 a month for it per user.
Was it come with like more linters or lints or?
Is it IntelliJ?
IntelliJ, thank you. IntelliJ.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, Java. Yep.
Yeah, Java.
Yeah, I used to use it.
Yeah, that was my first time using that, and it was cool because like on Git branches, it showed it had the whole tree, the whole working branch tree. So it was kind of cool to see, people's changes. I learned a lot more about Git at that role. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah,
it's like VS Code on steroids, really.
Exactly. That's
okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
I've only used VS Code. That's Eclipse. Those are the only IDEs I use.
Yeah, that was my first time using it. So to your point, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pass the mic. Go ahead.
No, you good.
No, you can go and finish, Lou.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm just gonna say B2B. I was gonna say, just to answer the point. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I need maybe I need another role per se to be in, because I kind of like this role because, like you said, with the autonomy, we may not be using like the latest and greatest cutting edge like the other role. I don't know. I think I kind of, for now, it's working for me.
Yeah. How about you, B2B?
Yeah, I think that I find out a lot more about industries when I go to these networking events and tech conferences, because then that's when I realize what industry does what. Because right now I'm in the HR space, HR industry.
Okay. Yeah.
And I learned a lot about hiring and firing, and that's where I kind of like base a lot of my knowledge based on for my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then I look at people in the finance industry, and it is very antiquated. And finance and fintech are like, okay, you got to come to the office 5 days out of the week.
Goldman Sachs, right? Citibank,
got to.
America Bank.
And then like they will let you go. Like Bank of America just said that they will have disciplinary issues if you don't come into the office or you don't return to the office. And
you just going back to a cubicle where you about to jump into a Zoom call for the person in the next cubicle across the hall. But I digress.
And then you see all the luxuries and benefits of working in the actual tech industry, like Google and Facebook and all of them.
Yeah,
they give you so many things, but it's so difficult to be able to get the job there.
Yeah.
And then they have it to where it's you can work from home, like work remote, but what they do is like before the pandemic, and then now they're actually starting to make people come back into the office. What they do is they try to keep you there for a long period of time, and then they expect you to do a lot of work. So like when you look at Elon Musk, he's over here telling people from Twitter/X that you have to some hard times are coming. You have to really work hard, and he got rid of a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, so that's a biggie. So I know I have a buddy who works for Amazon. He's a software engineer, And he was saying that not only do they have to do the work, right, for whatever internal applications or whatever code they have to develop internally, but they were saying that they also have to, part of their performance is them contributing to another project outside of their immediate group. They also have to have their own public projects. They have to attend networking events, and they got to do some other stuff like outside of work that has nothing to do with their productivity within their current role. But that is really what sets people from like the top 1% of software developers within Amazon and those who are quote unquote like coasting. So you can get fired if you. So the thing that was crazy that I recognized in that what he said you can get fired and be on the bottom percentile of people within Amazon as software engineers if you just do your job. You gotta do more than your job. That's crazy to me.
And that's why I think Amazon has like the shortest tenure.
Yep.
It's like 2 years, right?
Nah, it's less than that.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I think the longest was Google, but the shortest is definitely Amazon. I think it was like a year.
I think the average is like 2 or 3 years, really, at any of these big tech companies. Like people don't stay for long. People do not stay for long.
I've always heard that it's been very, very short for Amazon, and that they ask for a lot of people to like work really hard.
Yes.
And I remember like people saying that they were like depressed. There was a whole YouTube video I put into the group chat a little while ago, and this guy, he said he had like substance abuse issues and stuff like that. I forgot the guy's name.
Man. Oh, you talking about Neat Code?
Neat Code. Yeah.
And I think it was Neat Code. I think it was Amazon he worked at or something like that.
Yeah, it was Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah. See, so you can see how Amazon is.
Yeah, my buddy who was working there, he went to Cal Polytech, and he was giving me some. Okay. He work at Apple now. He left Amazon. I don't know. I didn't talk to him about if he got laid off or nothing, but he at Apple now. So
yeah, they typically consider Amazon the bottom of the thing, folk, because they'll just work you. They'll just work you, and the compensation is less in comparison to like the Apples, the Googles, and everybody. So
and Amazon has, I think they hired the most H-1B visas too out of all of them.
Yeah. I think you're right. Because I think they had the largest force of like developers and software engineers out of all of the organizations. So yeah,
and they moved AWS to Mississippi.
Really?
Yeah, they just
are they going? Are those like corporate offices, or are they doing like a
data centers?
Data centers. Okay. Wow, that's what's up. I want to get to this. A Monkey D. Luffy, shout out to One Piece. He says, "Is it really worth it to jump from 10K for only a 10K increase? Also, how can you learn How can you learn when you hop every year?" I say no. I think I saw a rule. I don't know if y'all are on Blind. Blind is software engineering, anonymous, right? You put in all types of stuff. People put in their salaries all the time, total compensation. And I think I saw a rule on that. They said that you shouldn't leave for more than like 30 to 40% of your current salary. Somewhere around there. I think it's like 40%. Like, so if you're making a certain amount, multiply that by 0.4 and add that to your total and say, hey, if my new salary is not this 40% more, then I'm not leaving. But that's what they say. But, I wouldn't say a 10% or a 10K increase in my salary would be it, unless I really hated that place. So
yeah, that was just what I was about to say. There's other reasons other than the money to leave.
Mm-hmm. American Eagle know a lot of people from Cal Poly. Dope. Yeah,
I was gonna say too, because I've been needing to chop this up with y'all. Like some organizations, like a year of experience there is a different year somewhere else.
It is. It is.
You get what I'm saying? Like, how can you really quantify what you quote unquote learn sometimes? Like, because you can learn all type of different things. Like here, I'll be honest. Like at this job, I'm actually using Linux a lot.
Okay.
I'm actually using Linux a lot and stuff. So I'm actually learning that. I think you can learn something I don't know. I just wanted to say that out loud.
I think you can. I think you can. I know in consulting, they say like 1 year in consulting is like 2 years of professional experience. I mean, because you're literally going from, like, I know probably 1 year, I probably worked with about 8 or 9 different customers on different type of engagements. I mean, and they were across different industries. Of course, all like industrial. So one was like an oil and gas environment. Another one was like a nuclear. Another one was like a regular electrical utility. Another one was a huge, large electrical utility. Another one was like a automotive plant, like a startup. And so like that all in 1 year isn't just me working just one place doing one thing. So, I guess it all depends. 1 year can look different in a lot of different places. So I agree with that. Mm-hmm. This one says, but of course, your job hopping also can come with a cost, which brings to the downside. Okay. It does affect your reputation. Frequent job changes can make employers wonder about a person's reputation and relationships with their past employers. Sometimes they ask for those references, right? If they unsure about you, they'd be like, okay, give 2 to 3 references. Get a numbers, how y'all work together. One has to be a manager. Some organizations are like that. So another one says employers often. Oh yeah, go ahead. There we go. I didn't even see it, but yeah, go.
I was just about to say is that that's why your network is your net worth.
Yeah, that's a fact.
If you just meet a lot of people at your job, and you network and get their information, and they start to like you. Yeah, you may not even need to have like your current manager. You can have like a previous manager that you just you worked with directly under them, and then you can use them as a reference.
I'm telling you, man, doing favors for people at work. Sometimes you might notice somebody might be struggling, jumping in there and saying, hey, let me help you out with this. Oh, I know you got to do this. Let me write that up for you, send that to you, or I can review this for you. That a lot of times does help to build up your professional network in the current places that you at. So that when you do ask somebody for a reference, then it's like almost like nothing, because they're like, oh yeah, you helped me out. Absolutely. I help you out here. So, and also I know another one that Antoine Wade told me is that he said that before what did he say? He said before you leave anywhere, make sure you get like 2 to 3 different LinkedIn references on your LinkedIn profile, because people can give you references on LinkedIn too to say, hey, this is how it was when I worked with this particular person. So he was saying that use LinkedIn references too. So yeah. Anything else on that one about references? Because it said job hoppers. Agree. Yeah, it said job hoppers might find it harder to get strong references from previous employers. Sometimes, yeah. Companies will be less likely to invest in you. Hiring and training new employees takes time and money. It does. If someone has a history of job hopping, an employer might worry about investing in someone who could leave shortly after joining. This can lead to wasted resources and disrupt the company's workflow, especially if you're in the leadership type of role. If they are investing in you to lead out people and all of a sudden the leader leaves, yikes. It can look really bad on whoever brought that person in. So, I think that's kind of what you were saying before B2B is that it depends on where you are in your career about how much you're quote unquote hopping from job to job. If you job hop too much, it affects what roles you can qualify for. Job hopping might be okay, especially. I feel like they're just saying, I did not read this. I promise I didn't read this. I did not read this before, but we said this, right? Job hopping might be okay, especially at entry levels where not a lot of commitment is needed. And it says at senior levels is different. But if you want a senior role, then generally some level of long-term commitment is preferred. They do. That's why sometimes, because right now I'm at a manager level and I've been up for like senior manager for a while, but managers can go directly from like a manager to a director role within another company. But at the moment, I've only been in my role for, I wouldn't say only, I've been there for like 2.5 years now. That's not considered long-term for somebody who's a manager or to be in particular leadership role. Typically, they look at 4 to 5 years. I've seen that in director where they say 5 or 4 to 5 years of leadership experience or being in a leadership role. So, yeah, I do think there is a difference between your entry levels and your senior. Mm-hmm.
Does it change because you're in consultant work?
I don't know. And that's where it gets to dependent on the organization. It really does depend on the organization. So some organizations are looking for somebody who has an expertise to bring you in to really help to tackle whatever problem they have. But other organizations might be like, I only seen you there for a little time. I don't know. 2 years ain't enough, buddy. Come back in the next couple of years when you get some more experience under your belt. So I think it all depends for sure. Yeah, man. He say he taking notes. Yeah, man. Listen, listen. This is my first time seeing this.
Oh, and another thing, Gabe, too, is because even as a manager position, there's. I remember somebody explaining this. There's 2 routes you can go. You can either go as a technical expert, or you can go the people manager route. And I guess it may be different for those too, because you may be a senior, like a lead developer or something like that, and you're just more so talking about like the actual like work. But then the manager or people maybe have a higher commitment, because without you, it's harder for them to be able to function.
I've been seeing more of blended roles. So I almost never see somebody. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I've been seeing it more often. Most people do either their technical leadership, where they don't have direct reports and they're not managing people. But then there's a lot of people who are just managers of people. I've been seeing more and more of a blend, because I'm a blend. So I have people that report to me, but I also am executing technically on services for customers. So I think I've been seeing a little bit of a blend here and there, where if you do both, I think you probably are. I don't know. Would you think that somebody would be more valuable? Yeah, if you could do both, you execute in
both.
Yeah. So no, but I agree. It probably would be easier for somebody to replace a purely technical lead type of role in comparison to a people lead. I don't know. I'm actually thinking the opposite now. Maybe as I'm thinking about it.
Because you're thinking of somebody who's more skilled in the technicalities. But then that also goes into having a single point of failure.
Right.
Because you don't want to have a single point of failure. So the technical lead shouldn't be like your single point of failure. It should be, I would think it would be more so the people manager, because the people manager is the one who gets the work to be done a lot of the time.
See, but people managers, I know exactly what you mean, but people managers I think are more common, or good people managers are more common than technical leads, because the skill sets are more difficult to find. Like, you can take somebody who was a technical manager or a people manager from a different industry and they can lead out technical resources. But a technical lead who has an understanding of this technology and that technology, know how to put it all together, know how to lead people, like dotted line lead people to a particular technical goal, I think they're a little bit less likely to find, at least from just my initial thoughts on it. Yeah, man.
Okay. What's up, Keep It Techie?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Keep It Techie? Welcome.
Hey, what's happening, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Hey, what's good, man? We talk about job hopping. We're going through this little document. So, yeah.
Okay. Got you. I'll let y'all keep going. I'll hop in.
Absolutely. So this one says why. This talk about why is it, I think what it said before. What did it say before? This is the why is it more difficult for senior people to job hop and have a good reputation. It says senior people tend to work on projects that take longer to see into fruition. These can take 3, 4, 5, or even 10 years. If you can't stay long term, companies won't want to hire you for senior positions. Yeah. Because they have a lot of, like, organizations have a lot of like transformation, like technical transformation projects that it's like it says, it takes years and years and years to implement. So if you're not there for the long term, it might be a little bit more difficult for companies to want to invest in you. So it says, our take, we often divide people into groups such as employees or employers and employees or companies. But at the heart of it, these people are just people. Whether you're an employer or employer, it's good to put yourself into someone else's shoes so you might understand why they're acting that way. The reality is that people are not so different. Put into the situation, you might also behave just like them. This is the good feels at the end, sounds like. So employers, if you want a long-term stable income, then you got to do that thing that suggests you want that. And companies, if you don't want people to stop job hopping, treat your people well, promote internally, acknowledge their growth with pay increments, be interested in your people's growth, not just in money, and be serious about talent retention. Until we truly understand job hopping to continue to be the norm. Something else. That's it. So what do y'all think? Anything there that y'all want to add about job hopping, or give experience on.
Yeah, I think that was a great document or PDF.
Yeah,
I think it was.
I have to share it.
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah,
so
find it.
I think another thing we needed to point out about making the switch, because I think sometimes people can kind of get doubtful of their own skills because okay, I'm in this position. They say you've been in a position for 3 years, right? You know that the 4th year is going to come up and the market may be switching, so that way your salary you may be losing out on money with the market. And when you go and you say, okay, well, hey, maybe I should look for a more senior position internally, and then you aren't able to get it, maybe it's time to go ahead and go for an external thing. But I think it needs to be calculated because you have to look at your network. It's extremely difficult to just apply for jobs on the website or on the job board. But if you have a reference, it helps you out tremendously.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I gotta go, guys. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. All right.
All right, Lou. Thanks for coming through, man. Thanks for coming through. How about you, Keep It Techie? We were talking about experiences with job hopping. When we have job hop, you got anything on that?
Oh yeah. I can throw a little bit in. I mean, it's you gotta look out for you, and I've said this multiple times. You gotta look out for you first. You know, at the end of the day. So if another position, you know, looks better or ties better to your situation, your personal situation, then it's nothing wrong with job hopping. But yeah, at one point, you know, I came in the field, I was looking at it like, oh, I need to, you know, find me a position and sit there and, you know, do 30 years like my dad did at the chemical plant. You know what I'm saying? You know, retire out and all that stuff or whatever. But yeah, this environment is totally different from the way it was back then. You know what I'm saying? Companies don't have no loyalty, and so you should respond in kind. You know what I'm saying? Whatever is best for your personal situation, which is what they're looking at as well. Then you need to, you know, take upon those opportunities that come to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But also, some of the points in that that's those slides you went through. I mean, they do make sense. I mean, sometimes you need to look into the other people's, you know, shoes or whatever. Because at one point you could be a senior, you know what I'm saying, and you see all these people, you know, jumping and leaving and stuff. Like, what are you doing wrong, you know, to not keep those people around? And you should take into account a lot of those bullet points that, you know, you pointed out in order to, you know, invest in your employees to kind of get them to stick around. Because a lot of times when you're in those senior roles too, depending on if you can keep people is part of your
the metrics of success.
Yes, exactly. So especially if you're working on a long-term project, like what was brought up, you know. So anyway, I stopped there.
It's interesting because I think you bring up a couple of interesting points, because I think that one is that I don't know why this is the case, but organizations seem to be more willing to keep bad managers than they are to keep bad employees. Like, because these big tech company layoffs and everything, a lot of times it's not even because people are doing something bad at work. A lot of times it's just because the numbers say that. But leaders who are bad, leaders who don't have vision, leaders who don't have strategy, leaders who cause people to leave or have bad, I guess, metrics for retention, they'll be at companies for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So, you know, I think it's just really interesting that a lot of times, you know, bad managers will stay somewhere before bad employees.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's almost because of the company's investment. I think they look at it like we've invested a lot more into this, you know, into this manager position. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Which I don't know. Because sometimes those positions lower can have similar, you know, salaries depending on the company. So I don't know.
I mean, a 15-year tenured manager compared to somebody who's worked there 2 to 3 years, I guess that manager is more difficult to replace.
Yeah,
that could be one of the reasons. I don't know. It's crazy though, because it's like people don't want to work there. But yeah, go ahead, B2B.
Can I bring in something else too?
So absolutely.
I was looking at this this job application, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's for a front end developer, and then I'm sure that front end developer that say 5+ years of experience, he should be making well into like the six figures, above $100,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I noticed that because the pandemic is over with and companies are going back into the office, they're asking them to come in 5 days out of the week, and the max for the position is $100,000 with a 10% bonus, with up to 10%.
You get 110 or 210 or 10%.
Up to 10%.
You're getting 5 maybe.
Right. So
5,000 a year maybe.
Yeah, like around like 5,000 or something like that.
Probably.
So I'm sitting here like there's a calculator online, and it tells you how much money you lose by going into the office as opposed to being remote. And then the salary is kind of low because everybody says, they're making 130 or something like that as the average. I believe it's like close to like 130 as the average. So you're under the market for the average for somebody with 5+ years of experience, and they had to pay the cost of going into the office 5 days out of the week.
I think I found it. We could do it live. Let's do it live. Let's do it live. Let me pull it up.
I would be surprised if you find it.
This one? Is this it? This is not it? It's called a telework calculator.
No, I can share my screen right quick if you
feel free. Yeah. We could put it in for that particular person that you're talking about. How much money would this person making? $100K with 5 years of experience. Okay.
Yeah, this is on Manpower Experience or whatever.
Okay.
However you pronounce this. And it says the front end developer, and it was just posted in 21st.
Oh no, I'm talking about the telework calculator for that person.
Oh no.
Like how much would they be paying? How much would they be losing by going into that office?
Oh, okay. I thought that was a the job posting.
Okay. No, this was just the telework thing.
Yeah, that wasn't the the calculator I had used before.
Okay.
But did you want to go through the job posting, or did you want to go through the calculator? I can take you down.
I want to see the calculator. I wanted to see how much would they be losing out on if they had chose to go into that particular role.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. We can just do it really, really quickly. Do you know, let's just say a sedan. Let's just say a regular sedan. How about the state? Where is that? What state are they in?
Let's say Georgia.
Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. I can't scroll. Why won't it? G. Oh, it only does it for these couple of states. What has a similar profile? Probably Arizona, right?
Arizona's a little bit more.
Colorado?
Colorado it is.
Let's try Colorado. Do you know how far it is? How far or how much? So they're going in 5 days a week. How far do you think they're traveling?
I say 20 miles.
20 miles each way. So that would take I don't know where it is. Atlanta traffic. How long do you think that would take?
Atlanta traffic for 20 miles will take you closer to 45 minutes to an hour.
No, let's just say 60 minutes. Let's just go on the up end. Okay. Let's see how this works out. I'm just doing this now. Does it give you that number? Where does it calculate? Hold up.
It says the total earnings and savings right there.
Is that what it's saying?
It says
is this it here?
It says total, it says total savings.
Okay. Let's zoom in there. So this is annually then. So for gas and car savings, let's see. I guess this is saying if you don't go into the office, right?
Mm-hmm. If you work
they got a plus. So it's gas and car savings plus earning from extra work
that's a little
total savings. Which I don't think that's the calculation. Let's just half it. That's just an image.
I don't think it's a calculation either. Let's see.
Oh, is that it right there?
I'm trying to see how do I just. Oh no, it's here. Sorry.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know about this earning from extra work. We can take that 12,000 now. I ain't gonna lie. Because that's just if they had another side job, or are y'all understanding it differently?
I think that it's saying if you work from home, then that's the extra earnings that you make.
I thought it's saying like if you have another side job, this is the potential that you can earn. I could be wrong. Earnings from extra work.
Can you put the link in the chat?
Sure.
In the private chat.
It probably says it somewhere.
It may be saying like the time that you've spent driving. You could be working. That's the amount you can earn during that time period of not working and having to drive. You see what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
But that's too much.
That's exactly what it is. No.
Okay,
That's exactly what it says. Using each state's average hourly wage and treating time saved commuting as extra time spent on a job. So it's saying that if you weren't commuting, this is how much extra work you could be doing, and this is associated with a So you
could make.
So this is for the job though. This is how much you can work extra if you're working. So this is a saving benefit for the organization, or a work benefit, if that makes sense. So in total, yeah.
And then I looked it up for Georgia when I went into it, and it's actually is a little bit less.
Really? Okay.
Than Colorado.
Okay.
So it's actually $15,839.
That's crazy. How much for gas and savings?
Gas and savings is $4,830.
So that's similar.
And then the earnings from extra work is $11,008.
This is money directly right back into your pocket. That 4,700, 4,500 from just commuting back and forth. But these companies don't take that money and put that on top of your salary. You're losing out on this amount
by 5,000.
Even when your job role does not require you to commute for you to be able to do your job.
Mm-hmm.
I find that fascinating. I find that's crazy.
But they want to give that money to the other businesses like the restaurants in the area,
car manufacturers,
and the building.
Yeah.
Like, they have the cafe downstairs with the gym.
Absolutely.
They want people to use it.
Yep. When it's not even necessary. Mm-hmm. So look at fintech and everybody. Okay. I know we can kind of went into a lot of different directions, but I don't have a lot of I'm still working up on my, what's that called? My streaming muscles. My streaming muscles still not warm yet. So, we're going to be ready to get up on out of here. Do y'all have anything before we drop down? And maybe I need to give a bit of a notice to you fellas before so you all can be prepared. But yeah, anything else before we drop?
Yeah, I think this is a great topic, man.
Man.
Think that overall, when it comes to job hopping, I think it's overall a good thing. I think that people should do it in order to get the best opportunity for themselves, and to not be afraid of what the hiring manager may think. You're caring too much about other people's opinions and how they feel and stuff like that than your own career and your own family. So I thank you for having me up here, Gabe. And
absolutely, man.
Shout out to Keep It Techie and Lou. Appreciate you.
Come back. Anytime, man. Yeah, thank you for contributing to the show. How about you, Keep It Techie?
Yeah, you got anything? Same thing, bro. I appreciate great topic. I appreciate you letting me on and everything. This was, awesome. I wish I would have came on earlier. I was knocked out, bro, and I was like, oh shit, I missed it live.
No, you're fine.
Like, let me come holler.
It's Sunday. It's a lazy Sunday. Yeah. Oh man, I think we about to lose. I'm looking at, speaking of Sunday. Oh man, I think we about to lose. The Lions, I think we might lose, but we'll see what's happening. We'll see. Yeah, it's 34-31 with 53 seconds to go in the fourth. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
City gonna be crazy. People gonna be crazy if we lose. I don't know. It's gonna be shootings. Watch out.
Oh no.
But yeah, thanks for coming through.
Yeah, no problem, bro. No problem.
Thanks for coming through, man. Absolutely. Yeah, peace out. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Again, Struggle Security, where we're normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. We talked about some things here as it concerns job hopping, some of the benefits, some of the negatives, quote unquote. But I think just like B2B said, and just like even the infographics and everybody else was saying, You got to look into what works best for you and your family. I think the thing that you need to prioritize is where you're looking at going in your career. And I think John brought up a very good point. Is that even if you are job hopping, the thing he says is that make sure that you have a reasonable explanation for every job move that you did, and make sure that it makes sense. Randomly job hopping can at times be more difficult to explain. So, definitely try to have a reason behind it. But hey, listen, happy job hopping. Happy job hopping if you want a job hop. So, thank you all for being here, and come back again for another stream. I got content coming out. Got some new sponsorships with some applications, really cool applications that can really help you out in securing yourself online. So more to come there. And thank you all for being here again. Struggle Security, where we're normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. Thanks for being here. In the stream.